Aww.
The kitties. Look how fat.
Look at that.
So
That's
fat.
great.
That is a thoroughly difficult question for me specifically, because there was a few years where I think I got a little bottlenecked into trying to outdo myself in silly.
Listen, I've made a point of like doing stupid tattoos. I really enjoy dumb tattoos.
I worked on the Venice Boardwalk when I first started, and it was wild out there, like super wild. The worst out there would have to probably be this, like across the dude's belly. You just got this.
I just did a little weed leaf, and his name was Norman Weedus. Just pause, you know?
I'm kind of, regretting telling you guys this, because this happened before I became a tattoo artist that really cared about the art in its best form. Some girl, she came to me, and it was a tough time in life. I needed $100. She got niggas going across her legs, and then get money on the back of the leg. So like, niggas on the front part of the thigh, and get money on the back part of the thigh.
Tattooed FBGM in a chick's lip, standing for bitches get money. That one was good.
I did a tramp stamp on my old roommate, and it's a green atomic mushroom cloud in the center with shockwaves coming out, and it says Farty Hard across his like upper butt.
I once tattooed like a Wrangler looking stamp on a kid's butt for his first tattoo that said Dr. Filth, I think. I think that was pretty silly to me. Yeah, but again, probably had deep meaning for him, so I'm glad I got to do it.
I'm sure I've done crazier ones, but the craziest one that comes to mind is I did this gnome that had the finger out and said, "Fuck you." And that was a pretty cool tat. I like that tat. Also, I liked it because it was on a teacher. And I just made it that much better.
I recently did a tattoo of a Hello Kitty with a tie-dyed bow in her hair. And she was holding a staff with a peach in it at the top of it. But she was standing at the top of a mountain like with a wacky tree. And it was to represent my friend's, like she told me all these stories of the past couple weeks. So like her and her friend took acid out in like these hills in Georgia. So like, she was like, I pictured myself as a lioness on the hill. So like, I drew up this Hello Kitty thing and it was all trippy and shit. Well then 3 days later, we did acid together. And then I was like, dude, I've never given somebody an acid tattoo before I did acid with them.
I have my own name tattooed on my toes because it's a toe tag.
The silliest tattoo I've ever done is probably when I tattooed myself on a friend of mine at Grit and Glory, my buddy Travis Ross. So I tattooed a picture of myself, and that was dope. And that was just like one of those organic things. He's like, you should tattoo me. I'm like, what do you want? He's like, whatever you want to do. I don't even know how it got there. I don't think that I was the one like, dude, you should get my face tattooed on you. You should definitely do that. I think it was more his idea. Even if it was my idea, I'm never gonna admit that. Tattooing my face right on my boy's inner thigh.
A dick and balls caricature, almost like a Mr. Peanut suit. He's wearing a suit and tie, and he has little arms like gloves, and he's smoking a cigar. And he's really classy. And I did it on a guy's butt cheek. And it looks pretty great. It held up great.
The first one that comes into mind right now is I did a portrait of Guy Fieri on some dude, and it was awesome. And I do not regret it at all. I like him. He's got a good vibe, man. He's got a good vibe. He seems like a good dude. I would be friends with him. I would like to go eat with him. I see a restaurant that says like Guy Fieri's eating here, and I'm like,
Why am I drawing such a blank on this?
Probably because most of the stuff you do is a little silly.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're gonna get a good answer out of that one because I only do silly tattoos. So now, like, my comparison is off. Is it silly to do, you know, like a cat getting tipsy on margaritas? Because, you know, that's one that's happened.
I think it's like the most common one, the little squirrel trying to reach for the nuts. I actually did it on myself, so I actually have it on myself. So that's pretty funny.
You did it on yourself, the squirrel going for the nuts.
Yes, I had to do it. Everybody is always talking about it. I never saw anyone getting it done. So I actually did it on myself.
On my friend Jess Brown, I've got, I did an opossum eating trash, but he's also kind of tweaking his own nip. And his butt is fully exposed, but like tastefully, you know, like I didn't want it to be something that's, you know, off color or risque. I really wanted to show an opossum's butt in a positive light.
There's this one guy here in LA, he's like an LA legend. His name is Dreamy. And he has just like very legendary tattoos. Like all his tattoos is just like crazy to the next level. And he came one day and he wanted to get a codeine drinking rooster tattooed all over his whole leg. So, okay, I said, and we designed a very beautiful rooster. I remember really doing like a purple bottle codeine and just like the detail. And the rooster like having these like really cool like golden shades that was just like sparkling, and like it was just like so silly, but we just had so much fun that session. It was just like he's just so crazy. So, and I love that. I love when people just take everything to just like a crazy extent, you know.
I also did a tattoo of a plucked chicken body with the head of John C. Reilly on her. So I guess is that silly? I don't know. It felt very serious at the time.
These two girls, they were best friends, and there's nothing wrong with that. They wanted a best friend tattoo, so they got only for a best friend, written in like child writing. You know, they said they didn't even care what kind of writing. They said just make it look like scribble. And they said only for a best friend, and then put like a little stick figure, and then a dot, circle, dot, you know, and that was that had some sort of meaning to them. And then shortly after receiving that tattoo, which was right on their hip, you know, they were no longer best friends. So I thought that was kind of silly.
There was a 19-year-old came in and had a portrait of himself holding a picture of himself. So it was a never-ending. And then when we took the photo, he did the same pose, holding the picture, holding it. So it was just this continuing. We had a long conversation with him leading up to it, going, "Are you sure? You know, this is a comedy tattoo." And he said that he was just joining the forces. And he said, and his dad came with him as well and said, "Look, he's been planning this for years. He's thought, you know, since he was 16, he said, this is going to be brilliant. So he'd waited till he was 19. So 3 years of not wanting anything else. And it was almost like we were trying to talk him out of it just to make sure he really wanted it. And he stuck to his guns for the entire time. So it was like, good for you." So, but then that's a rare thing because the guy that trained me had a very, very strong moral compass when it came to tattoos. And he said, you know, they're not jokes, they're not, you know, yes, they're fun and all this kind of thing, but you don't want to spend your career covering up things because you didn't talk to a client, or you just did the first thing that they came in and asked for, knowing full well it was a bad idea, or, you know, like we said, we've always done those names that we've covered up 2 weeks later and they've regretted, but as long as we do our bit at the beginning and say, "Are you really sure?"